Hi guys, welcome back to my little weight loss vlog. I think this is number 3, but it's week 4. It's the end of week 4. I usually film these on Fridays because that's when I check in, see where I'm at, what I'm doing, but I didn't have time on Friday, so it's actually Sunday. So tomorrow, Monday, is the start of week 5 on this journey. And like I have been doing, I kind of just want to start with an update, see where I'm at, see what's working, what's not working. And this week was the first hard week that I've had so far, and I lost 1 pound. So I think that's like 9 in total or 8, I can't remember, but it's still in the right direction. It's not as much as I've been losing because of some of the decisions that I made this week, but I have to stay positive, even though that's quite difficult for me after this week. But it's still 1 pound, it's still in the right direction. I didn't gain any, so what I'm doing is working, and I'm aware of the decisions that I made this week that made it where I lost a little less than I've been used to so far. So let me kind of get into what made this week challenging. Why don't we? So I haven't really been dealing with a lot of hunger yet, which is really odd because I have a very large appetite. I always have. I really like food. I like eating. I have a big appetite. So I was really nervous going into this journey because I have a really hard time controlling my big appetite, but I've tried really hard to volume eat, so a lot of big salads, just a lot of food on my plate, but still stay within the calories, and I think that has really, really helped me so far. But I did not prioritize that this week, and I had a lot of meals that were on the smaller side, but more calorically dense. And that did not work for me. I was starving every single day this week. And I'm eating enough calories, so I know that was kind of just in my head maybe, I don't know, but I was so hungry every single day, and I have not learned how to handle that feeling. I do not like feeling hungry. It makes me nauseous. It makes me feel bad. I don't like that feeling. So I try really hard to plan my meals accordingly and make sure I'm getting enough food to fill me up, but stay within my calorie goals. And I did not do a good job, obviously, of that this week because I was so hungry every day. And I did not handle that well. And I'm not claiming to have or to not have or ever been diagnosed with or anything, but I do have some disordered eating habits sometimes that I've struggled with in the past. And this week I kind of saw some of those come to the forefront, which they haven't really in a long time. But I'm gonna say the word binge, but I just ate a lot, like uncontrollably a lot. And I did that twice. So I went over my calories 2 times this week that I tracked. And it was uncontrollable. Like, I knew I was doing it, but there was just no stopping it. And I tried, but I couldn't. And that's what the overwhelming hunger that I had this week, that kind of led me to that place. So this week I'm really going to work on eating, not to control my hunger, but eating meals that I know will help me feel fuller longer instead of smaller, more calorically dense meals, because that obviously doesn't work because it leads me into some really bad habits that I'm really trying to get away from. And I don't think ever said this like publicly, I don't really talk about it, but I've had problems with, like I said, disordered eating in the past. And it is so hard to get out of those habits. And so that made this week really hard because you feel down on yourself you feel like a failure when you do that, especially if you have like a really strict goal that you're trying to meet. And it made me feel very bad about myself and the fact that I fell back into those habits. But I understand what I need to do this week to not do that again. And I understand that feeling of hunger is a trigger for me. I know. If you hate that word, if you don't like binge, if you don't like trigger, whatever, just don't watch these videos because this is how I feel. So hunger is a trigger for me. It makes me kind of almost panic. Even though I know, because I'm tracking them, I know that I'm eating enough food, but that feeling of hunger really makes me anxious. It makes me feel bad, like I just can't handle it yet, and I'm learning. I'll get there, I'm sure. But having that feeling of hunger every single day just led me down a road that I thought I was past, which is okay. Like I said, I'm gonna try harder this week to really work on the choices of food that I'm eating, and I'm doing as well as I can because I'm aware that I have a really big appetite, so I've been really focusing on protein. I've been really focusing on volume eating, like I was saying. I just did not do a good job. And another thing also, my hunger shifts dramatically in like the different weeks of the month because I'm a female. So things feel differently in your body as your month goes on, and I have one week that I'm like disastrously hungry, and my mental health is usually not the best during that week either. So the combination of those two things just wrecked me this week, and I don't feel good going into next week. I don't feel confident. I don't feel like I succeeded this week. I made bad food choices, which I don't really want to like label food as good and bad. Food doesn't have any morality to me. I'm really trying to get away from that. I can eat any foods. No food is good, no food is bad. Some are just more nutrient dense, some are higher in calories, it's hard to get away from that mentality when everybody's like, oh, this is a good food, this is a bad food. And especially since I'm tracking calories, obviously the more unhealthy foods are higher in calorie, the less nutrient dense foods are higher in calorie. So in my head, I immediately assume that those foods are bad because that's what I've done my entire life. That's what society essentially tells you to do, to assign good and bad, and I'm really trying not to do that anymore. But because I see those numbers every time I put them into my app, I'm like, oh, well, that's bad. Like, I don't need to eat that again because it was so high in calorie. Like, can't believe you ate that. Can't believe you did that. And that's fully just me in my head and fighting my demons that I have going on up there. But it's really hard to get out of that mindset of like good foods versus bad foods. And I did not do a good job of that this week. I really just, this week wrecked me. I knew that it was going to happen eventually. Not every week is going to be a good week. I'm not going to be spot on with my goals every week. I'm not going to perfectly follow the plan that I've decided every week. Life is life and things happen. And this was a great example of that. We also have some big changes that might be happening, and all of this combined just pushed me over the edge, and I couldn't stick to my plan. I couldn't handle the thought of change. I was really anxious all week. I was really hungry because it was that week of the month, or like this specific, I don't know the different phases, but it was the one that I'm really hungry. I know that. I know that much. I don't know which one that is. If you know, if you're a cycle girly, let me know. But everything just like seemed to be so overwhelming to me, and We had like parties over the weekend, and we went out to a concert, and I'm like scared to weigh again because the past 2 days I don't think I followed my plan either. So I'm scared that I gained weight, but I don't want to be scared that I gained weight. I just need to notice my habits and say, hey, that's not leading you in the right direction. Maybe don't do that next weekend, or maybe be a little more aware of the choices that you're making. And I'll get there eventually. Eventually, it's a journey. Like I said, I think in my first video, maybe, or maybe I just thought it, I don't know. But I need to be more focused on the journey and not so much the destination. And I know so many people say that, and they're like, okay, but it's actually about the destination. But on weeks like this, I can't get so discouraged that I stop. I just have to keep going, and I can't let my poor choices this week deter me from making better ones next week. I have to keep going in the right direction instead of just completely give up like I have before. So that's what I'm doing, and we're gonna see in my next update video next week, we will see if I did or not. I'm hoping we have our meal plan set up. I know what I'm probably gonna eat. I know the week's plan, like our calendar, so hopefully I can stick to it again this week. I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, I can get past it. One other thing that I really struggled with this week, and that I've always really struggled with, is so the day that I like uncontrollably ate way too much, the day after that, right? So I ate way too much. I knew the number, I knew how much over my goal I went for that day. And the next day, it was really, really, really hard for me to not want to overcompensate and eat way, way less the next day. I had to very actively decide that I was not going to do that, because that's just a vicious cycle. If you've ever been on a journey like this before, or you have struggled with eating habits in the past, you know that if you go overboard one day, you're gonna really come in under the limit the next day, and it's just a cycle because you're not fueling your body, you're not giving it what it needs. Even though you ate too much yesterday, it doesn't mean that your body doesn't need that fuel today. Like, it's a new day, you have to start over. And it was very hard for me to decide that I was going to eat my allotted amount instead of less, because of the decisions I made the day before. And it took some external validation that I needed to eat that whole amount instead of less. I had to ask people what to do because I didn't know. And I was like, my initial reaction is to eat way less, but I'm just gonna be starving, and it's gonna lead me back into that binging mentality that I'm so hungry I have to eat right now because I didn't fuel my body for the rest of the day. So that was a challenge that I overcame this week, which is looking at the positives, I guess. I knew that I ate too much one day. My initial reaction was to eat way less the next, but I didn't do that. I fueled my body appropriately. I stuck to my goal that next day, and I felt fine about it. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't scared of my next interaction with food. It was fine. And I've never been able to do that before. So that's a positive that I'm gonna end this video on. I felt good about that. Probably not in the moment, but I feel good about it now. I feel good about that decision. I know that's the right one to make, and it will help me stick to my goals in the future. You can probably, the energy is just like off this week. It was just off, and I feel bad about what I did. Not even so much like I don't know. I know better. I knew that I didn't need to do that. I was doing fine, but it was just so, this week was overwhelming for me, and that was like, I was losing control in a few aspects of my life, and the thought of a big change happening, it just led me to make that decision to overeat, to not stick to my goals, to do something that I could control, to feel in control of the food that I was eating. And for me, some people it's restricting, but for me it goes the opposite way. I needed to feel in control for that moment, and it led me to make decisions that I'm not proud of now, which is fine. But I'm gonna actively try to make different decisions if I get overwhelmed this week. I'm gonna try to control something else maybe, or realistically, I would like to, or idealistically, whatever, I would like to not have to feel in control when things are getting a little chaotic, but I don't know how to do that yet. So maybe I'll pick something else to hold on to if I feel like things are overwhelming. Maybe something healthy, maybe a walk, or I don't know. I don't have any other ideas. I'm just rambling at this point. If you made it this far, congratulations, because it was a hard watch, I'm sure. I got lost in the sauce in my own head, and I'm the one saying the words. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching. And again, if you know me in real life, no you don't. No you don't watch these. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great week. I'm gonna go start making better decisions, healthier choices, and I'm gonna start right now. So I will see you guys next week, and I will hopefully have a more positive update for you. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.